guys, today's video is sponsored by Tan Beauty and I am going to be going back to an old series idea, which weirdly enough, I think I used to do with Makeup Revolution palettes, which is completely unrelated. But this palette, which is the Freedom Innocent Collection palette, which is a 32 eyeshadow collection, looks like this, is currently on offer for £4 on Tan Beauty. So I will link to it below for those of you that are interested, because that is an amazing deal. But I am going to be showing you 5 looks with this particular palette. I was going to say over the next 5 days, but within the course of this video, which took me 5 days to film. And I'm wearing one of them right now. I actually filmed a get ready with me with this, so I will link to that below if you want to see exactly how I did this. I have put on my little colour guide and I will show you the colours that I have been using. Let me just figure out if I can see that through here. I think that I can. So I used this colour, which is kind of like a rose gold shimmery colour. I used that in my crease first of all and kind of up a little bit above there because I do have quite hooded eyes, just so you can see a little sunrise of colour. I then used Cause, which is this deep brown matte colour. I used that in my crease. I then used, what colour is this? Goodwill. And I used that to go over my crease a little bit more because I felt like it was a little bit too, there was something too metallic there that I didn't like. So I went over my crease a little bit more with that to deepen it, or just to kind of, let's call it a transitional colour if you want. I don't know. Veil, this pinky matte colour, I used on my lid to brighten that up and kind of on the inner corner of my eyes. And then I actually used Goodwill under my eyes as well, which I think is why I ended up using it in my crease, because it just felt like it tied the whole things in together. So just to kind of show you those colours without the sheet over the top of them. I think it's really, really nice all-rounder palette. There's a lot of different things that you can do with this. A really nice, neutral, and yet somewhat colourful palette, which is what I'm hoping for, because over the next 5 days I'd like to show you 5 different ways to use it that look different enough for me to bother to show you the difference. So I hope that you enjoy this video. I hope you enjoy the remains of what there is to come, because I don't know what it's going to be yet. But I have had people request this kind of video again, because it's been a long time since I've done one. So if you do want to see more of these, let me know in the comments. But that is it for the first look. Here's day 2. Hi guys, the second look from the palette is a little bit more daytime. I was kind of just thinking to myself how I was going to get around using more of this. I'm going out tomorrow night, so I'm probably going to go with the black and the darker colours. But tomorrow morning, I'm getting up really, really early for work, and that may be tricky because I'll probably do something very, very basic, but I might show it anyway. So I'll just flip this around so you can actually see the colours that I used. This time I used Disguise in my crease. I then went into Innocent on my lid. I used Forget, which is this shimmery kind of copper colour, which is really quite shimmery, not a lot of colour to it, but a nice amount of glitter. I used that over my crease, over my lid, and I ended up bringing it up into my crease because it didn't have a lot of colour, so I just kind of used it as almost kind of like a top coat. And then I used Virtue, which is, I don't know, I probably could have gone for that colour. I didn't feel like it was pale enough, just underneath my brow to make sure that I didn't have too much shimmer too high up, just to bring down the matte a little bit. So they are the shades that I used for this eye look today. Then obviously liquid eyeliner, but more of a daytime look, more of a look that I would wear more often. But I'm going to try and do some more dramatic things as well, because I think that probably is where this palette's going to come into its own. It's got a lot of really nice deep shades, and that glittery black, I'm going to have to use that tomorrow. So I skipped a few days. I actually have still been using the palette, but I didn't film any of the looks because they ended up being quite similar to what I'd shown you before. I wanted to do something more dramatic when I went out, but where I was staying was really dark and it just kind of wasn't entirely possible. The light was just not good enough to do anything like this. So instead I've done it today, and I'm going to take Milo to football looking like this. I actually really like it. I'm not one for really dramatic eyeshadow normally, but I really quite like this. And I used this colour on the lid, which is kind of a sparkly black, and I think you can see the sparkle, because sometimes you use something like that that's just got a little bit of sparkle running through it and it doesn't really translate onto the eyes, but I think that looks really nice. And then almost exclusively then I used this warm brown colour down here. I used that in my crease. I also used that underneath my eye, and I kind of brought the black into the inner corner. And then I used this shade up here, this kind of creamy pink tone shade. Let me get my face out so it will focus. This one up here I used just underneath my brow to kind of blend it all together. So yeah, I really like it. More dramatic than I would usually go for, but something I would wear again. I think we're on day 4, right? I'm really gravitating towards one particular colour in this palette as I use it more and more. And it is this corner one here, this really warm brown. I love it. So I've used that kind of, I can't get in the good light, kind of all the way around the crease and kind of outer corner. And then the one next to it is kind of peachy colour. This one-handed filming is not easy, this one. I used that on my inner corner and just kind of slightly underneath the eye. And then I used this bronzy colour, which is far warmer than it looks like in the pan. It's much closer to this warm one on the end corner. As you can see, I don't think that looks all that dissimilar in tone. Focus. Just a black eyeliner, that's pretty much what I used. Oh, and to blend it out to my brow, I used this one here. I'm definitely pulling towards the warmer colours in this palette. I did realise once I'd started that normally when I do something like this, there's a lot of colour in the palette. There isn't, it's very neutral. And so it's pushed me to do things and like try different ways of applying eyeshadow rather than just doing a blue one or a pink one or a green one or whatever else. It's made me look at different ways of applying eyeshadow as opposed to pushing different particular colours. So tomorrow for the final one, I think I'm going to go brighter because it's going to be quite early in the morning before work. It's going to be something simpler and quick, and I might just go very pale and try a really wide awake look. But I'm really liking this one. This is one that I would definitely wear again. The dark one from yesterday, I wore it in a video and it was really mixed. People said they really liked it or they really didn't like it. Oh, that is my alarm. I'm not sure about it on me. I think it's just because it's so different for me, but I would wear probably a slightly more toned down version of that, something not quite so dark, but I did like the all over lid with a bit of a smoke out into the crease. So I may have to try something like that again in the future, but it's fun. It's been fun so far, and I will be back in the next clip with my final look from the palette. And here is my final early morning look. I've gone very bright, like I said I would, and I used colours that I didn't use before. I was looking through the palette and thinking, why have I avoided all the shimmery shadows? And I think it's because the first ones that I used were really glittery, didn't have a lot of colour, and so then I tended to err towards the mattes. I felt like I had a lisp then, but I used, what colours did I use? This pale colour here, so this kind of very bright colour, and then I used this in my crease, which is beautiful, a gorgeous like slightly deeper champagne colour. Then I used all the way over on the other side, one-handed vlogging, this colour. This one on the other side is kind of like just under my eyes, and then I used the kind of creamy pale colour in the middle that I've been using throughout pretty much for between the crease and my brow bone, because it's not quite as harsh as the one that I wanted to use for my inner corners. But I really like this. I'm looking in the mirror now because it's easier, but yeah, I like this. Brighter, makes me feel a little bit more wide awake. So that is it for this video. I know I'm going to have repeated myself, sorry it's early, 1,000 times. When I'm editing this I'm going to be like, why did I say that? But that is the pitfall of recording something over multiple days, so there you go. It's been way more versatile than I imagined. When I first started I thought, oh no, you know, it's not going to work because it's just all neutrals, and I really haven't even used half the palette. If I'd wanted to go more kind of silvers and blues or golds, I could definitely have done more with it, but I didn't feel like those were the colours for me. I would say the standouts, after using it, that corner champagne colour is absolutely gorgeous, really nice payoff and really blendable. This one, which I mentioned yesterday, and I think the day before, this one also really like that. I like that just as an all over lid colour. This kind of purpley colour up here, I really like. And well, just, you know, all the mattes that I've tried really, but they probably are the ones that I was like, yeah, really like those. And we'll go back into this palette just to pick those ones out in the future. But that's it. Hope you've enjoyed it. Hope it was useful for those of you maybe trying to get out of a rut with certain palettes that you're using, or wanted to see what kind of looks you could create with this palette. Bearing in mind, I'm not a makeup artist. I'm very much a layman. And if I could do 5 looks from this palette, you definitely could as well. So that is it, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.